Hello everyone, welcome back to our 20th video of learning how to make mobile applications using Flutter. You're with me, Muhindo Mubarak, that is taking you through these lectures. So we are going to do 40 minutes as always do, and we're going to resume from where we stopped at in the previous video. As you can see, I've already started my timer, and it means there's no more time to waste. We're going to go straight into our business. So that is our source code. If you've been following clearly, you must not be lost. You must not be lost at any point. If you're really lost, can be available to help you in any time, anyway. Okay, as long as you contact me. And if you again pause the videos and watch them carefully, of course, you'll be able to do what? To understand everything that we are doing, because we're explaining everything step by step. Alright, so without wasting much time, I'm going to compile the application, and we run to our emulator so we can take it over from there. So in the previous lecture, we were looking at how you can solve that problem of someone, when they click back, they go where? They go to where they stopped at in the previous what? In the previous screens, which we thought that it is not a very good user experience. So we saw that you need to first register your routes of the endpoints that you want to be stopping at. Like, you can be able to remove someone until a certain level. All right. So we looked at how you can register those endpoints, and we looked at different good practices that you can do. So we registered the main screen and also the login screen. You can go ahead and register the register screen as many as you want, as long as you want those endpoints to be the main places where you want to be sending those users when you don't want them to go backwards before those. All right, so this was our application, and we looked at the login screen. Okay. So if you come to this account, so look at this method, which is push named and remove until. Okay, so that is the one that is available. So you have push named and remove until, then you push named and remove, push named and push and removed until. This one will take even those ones that are not named. So you have push named and remove until. We'll push and then replace. Okay, then we have push replacement and then push replacement named, something like that. All right, so with that much said, let's go ahead and proceed with the application. So at least now we know if we want to log in, we want to log out someone, we'll have to use the push named and remove until, so that people can go back until that endpoint that you specified. Okay, then you'll have solved that problem of clicking back and someone goes back to the application that you want. So, and to where you don't want them to reach. So this, you can implement it also on the login screen. You have to implement it on the login screen, that if someone logs in, you don't want them again to come back the login screen. You can do the same thing. You can also register it. You can also implement it the register string, that if someone finishes registering, you don't want them again to come back to the registration screen when they click back. So you can do that and implement it in that way accordingly. So all right, let's go ahead and now log in, and then put the password. So if I ask you that I want the application to tell the person who is logged in, I hope you can achieve that. Okay, I hope you can achieve that. For example, I want to tell the name of a person who is logged in by saying maybe hello, then the name of a person who is logged in. I hope you can achieve that, and if you can't, then you have to try so that you are at that level. All right, let me show you how we can achieve that. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to come to our home page. What is our home screen? Our home screen is here. Okay, this is the home screen. Okay, this is the home screen. Say this home screen, we want to get the person who is logged in and then display their name here. Okay, so I can come here to the app bar in this title, and then I make this one to be a column. So to make it a column, just simply come here in this title and then press Alt and Enter, and then press column. So it means that if you make it a column, you'll have to have multiple things one on top of the other. So I can come here and just put another one here, and then this one bottom I can save. So I have here the app name, and then so I want to say here hello, the name of a person who is logged in. All right, so I can go ahead and reduce. All right, I can go ahead and reduce this and reduce the size of this font. Okay, so to do that, I just simply font size maybe 8 and then save. So you see hello, the person who is logged in. I can say maybe 10, or I can be maybe 12. I think that is okay. So hello, the person who is logged in. So if I want them to always start on the start of the screen, I can just simply come here in the column and put max align, and then say align start, and then also cross align and make it start. Then it will always be here on the beginning of the screen. So all right, let's go ahead and see how we can do that logic. First of all, I'm going to change this widget to be a stateful widget. So I just move my mouse here and then press Alt and Enter, and then say convert to stateful screen. So it should be a stateful widget, as you can see there. So after making it a stateful widget, I'm going to put now I'm going to create here a variable of a person who is logged in. Okay, so I'm just going to say log in user. I can say maybe logged in user equals to new logged in user. I've just put it on top here. All right, so this logged in user, I'm just going to display his name. All right, I'm going to display his name here. So it's going to be hello, and then I substitute the name of the person who is logged in like this. Hello, then the logged in username there. Let me remove this constant so it can be able to accept it. So hello, so you can see the name of the person who is logged in is not displaying. The reason why, we have not worked on the logic of a person, of getting the person who is logged in, getting them from what? From the local database. So that's when you have to create a function for initializing your screen, okay, and then call it immediately when that screen is opened. So let me create a function that is going to be doing the logic when this screen is opened. So to do that function, I'll just simply come here and say init, maybe I can call it anything that I want, init screen, or I can say my init something like that. Okay, so you can see Copilot has helped me to suggest this one. So in this logged in user model, we have a function that we wrote some time back that help us to get the person who is logged in. Okay, this is a function. Let me open it and explain it. So when I open it here, it is inside the logged in user the logged in user model. So let me explain how it is. It is a static function, meaning that you can call it even when you've not initialized this class, and then it is a future function. It means that it is going to take some time for it to give you back the data, so you have to await for it. It is promising you to give you a single item of a person who is logged in, or the logged in user item, and then its name is called get logged in user item. So since it is going to have the await, or since it's going to be a synchronous function, or it's going to take time, you're going to specify here that it's going to be asynchronous, and then open curly bracket and close the curly bracket. So let me show you what we did in this function. In this function, we had to initialize just a user, okay, and then we initialize the database. After initializing the database, we make sure that the database is initialized. Then we go ahead and get the table, initialize the table. You know how we did that. And after initializing the table, we get the user who are in this table, and if we don't get any user, we return back this user who doesn't have an ID, whose ID is 0. So if we got some user, we just convert that data from a JSON, and then we get the first item of this map that has come from the database, and then return this user. So by doing like that, we'll be able to get the what? The logged in user. So if I come back to our home screen, I've created a function called init screen. Okay, init screen. No, you can call it my init. You can call it anything. Okay, but the main point of this function is it will be called when this screen starts. Okay, so it's going to be asynchronous, and then open curly bracket. Then you say logged in user equals to await logged in user dot what dot get logged in user. So this one is going to get for us the logged in user. So you can check if the ID is less than 0, then you can say maybe less than 1, then you can say maybe the person is not logged in, and then redirect them accordingly. All right, so let me go ahead and now, so this, and then after you set state, so it means that it will be able to update this logged in user variable and substitute it with the person's data who is logged in. So if I save, and then, you know, of course, do not call this function automatically. So I have to put this init screen function, okay, init state function. So in this init state function, it is a function that has been overridden, and it will be called by the what? By the operating system automatically. So when it will be called by the operating system automatically when this what? When this screen is opened. So when we call this operating system, I mean when this is called, I just go ahead and call my init state what? My init screen function, so it can initialize the data. So in this init screen, you see it gets this logged in user. So for testing, you can go ahead and call it here. For example, in this, when I want to click here, I want to test if it is working. So I can just simply call this init screen here, just for testing purposes. I save. When I click here, you see, hello, Bebe Cool. So it is mean that it's Bebe Cool who is logged in. But this is not meant to be here. So this will be called automatically when the screen when the screen starts. All right. So if I save and I go back, so on the login screen, you have to put that login until. Okay. We have to put it on the splash screen. You have to put that remove until. It is very important. Otherwise, it will keep on showing you that login screen. All right. Now, if I come here and click on my application, it will load, and then automatically it will get the person who is logged in, and then display here, hello, Bebe Cool. So it means that it is now Bebe Cool who is logged in, which is so awesome. So that is how you can display someone who is logged in. You display their name there. All right. Now let's go to now creating what? Creating now our diary book. Okay, we have done the logic of authentication, all that we have finished. Now let's go ahead and now create the real diary book. Okay, so the diary book will be simple. Someone will be able to record their stories or their records in the app, and then they save them and then when they come back, they should be able to get these things, and then they should be able maybe to edit them and save them and update something like that. All right, let's go ahead and see how we can implement that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to simply put here a button for doing what? For creating for creating the new record. Okay, so it's going to be a simple app. So I'll come here to the home page of our diary app, and then we have something. I'll come into the scaffold. We have something called floating action button. Okay, this floating action button, this is how you write it. Just simply say floating action button, put colons, and then say floating action button, then you open curly bracket, and then you put on press listener, and then you put the icon that you want to display, which is called the child, and then you put the icon that you want to display. So by doing like this, you'll have a beautiful thing like this one. You can format it. You can give it, for example, background color, and give it blue, since we want to maintain the same thing. Okay, I believe you've seen these kind of icons in many applications. All right, you can give it a lot of things. Okay, these are all the parameters that it can take. All right, these are the parameters that it can take. Okay, there are so many. All right, so I can come here and change this icon color and make it white. So there we go. Now I want, when I click here, it should take me to the screen. Someone should mute their screen. If you're having two devices, you can mute one. Or you can mute yourself, unless you have something to say. Because I'm hearing some echo. Let me find out who is doing that. Ambrose, can you mute? Ambrose, mute your microphone. Ambrose Anara, mute your microphone, please. Ambrose and Alanda, mute your microphone. You're spoiling the recording. Alright, okay. So, can someone tell for me, Ambrose, to mute their microphone, please? Hey guys, are you following really? Okay. That's so bad. Alright. Okay, so I want when someone clicks on this button, we should take them to the screen of creating a note, right? The screen of creating a diary note. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that screen, right? So since we already have many forms that collects data, we can just duplicate one of them. For example, I can duplicate that login form, and I will base on that to make the form for recording a record. So it's going to be number what here with number 5. So I can paste here. It's going to be number 6. All right, and then say diary, app diary, and then say note or record create. Diary record, something like that. So you can call that record. So I'm calling it record because I want everything that about record should begin and they should have related things following it. Alright, so when I press enter, now I'll come to the screen itself and I change the name of the class. Okay, so I'll select it and then press Alt and F to search it, press Alt and enter to be able to edit it. So here I'll come here and call this one app diary record create screen. Hope that's okay. App diary record create screen. Okay, I hope that's okay. All right, so now after, I'm going to now put the listener that when someone clicks there, it should be taken to this screen. When someone clicks here, it should be taken this screen of creating a record. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll come back to our home screen. There is a home screen. No, app diary home, this number 3, and then come to our floating button and then come to this, okay, this on press listener, and then we go ahead and login screen, to app diary record create here, and we import it. Okay, so I hope you're together. Now after doing that, I want now to test. When I click here, it says text me creating record. Okay, creating record. All right, so the next thing, we're going now to design our model for a single record. Okay, we're going to design the model of a record. So I'll come here and then I'll come and to our models here, and then I'll come and say new file. So this file is going to be called it's going to be called what? It's going to be called diary record model. That. So this is the one that you're going to be now using to create records. Okay, so after doing that, let's go ahead and now create the class itself. So that's the class diary record, and open the bracket like this. So which things is it going to be? Is it going to have? So we'll just simply put here string and then put id, and then its id is okay. Sorry, string. They can put integer, and that's going to be id, and then you make its id to be 0 by default. All right. So which things we need in a diary record? So the diary record will have a title, then it will have also maybe a description, then it will have the date when you recorded this, and maybe you can put maybe time. No, time is not necessary. All right, these are enough. Okay, these are enough. Maybe a category, like it's about what? Is it sports? Is it work? Is it something like that? Okay, so you can do that by yourself, by challenging yourself, by making maybe a category drop down, something like that. All right, so for me to keep it simple, I'm just going to make this record to be having an ID, a name, a title, a description, and then the date when it was recorded. All right, so after doing that, we are going now to create this screen that is going to collect this data. We have already created it here. So let's go ahead and fill in the data, okay, and make the forms relevant. So to do that, I'll just simply come to our screen number 6, which has the creating of a record. So I'm going to remove this unnecessary thing. For example, username and password, I'm going to remove that. All right, so this is the title called creating record. All right, so the record is going to have a what? It's going to have a name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a model of a new entry, or the record that's going to be entered, okay? The new entry. And then after, we'll use that entry to do what? To enter into the database. All right, to collect the form from I mean to get the data from the form. So I'm just going to copy the name of this class and then come to the form. Okay, I'm going to put here record. Okay, and then I give it a name. For example, I can call it items. This is going to be the main item here, equals to new record, and then I import it. Okay, so this is going to be the main item. So after I come here and I collect the what? The title. So it's going to be here. Title, and then I come and change here the label text to be the not title. Then after we have the description and then the date. All right, so the description can be here like the details, which is here I call it description. Okay, I can call it details. Okay, so how shall we collect the details? It's going to be item.what.details equals to x.string. So this will be called every time someone types something and changes, then it uploads this one. So it's going to be description. All right, so then lastly is now the date. Okay, so the date can come on top, of course. So I'm going to duplicate this guy, date and time, right? Come and put here on top, right? So here I'm going to call it date and time, something like this. All right, so if you want date and time, you just remove this text field and leave that form builder, and then put the called date time picker. All right, date time picker. So that one will have to collect for you. It will have to enable you collect the date. So I can put here date, record date and time. So here should change to what? To date and time, right? Like this, right? It's going to be date. I think we named it as date. All right, yeah. So after doing that, I'll come here and see what is crying. Of course, this is the saving part. So I'll come and remove this word and just leave only one button. So I'll come and remove all this on press method. I've collapsed it, and then I leave this, and then I can put here create record, something like that, and then come and delete this guy here like this. So save, then I can remove this expanded, so you can have just a simple interface like that. So a person who want to create their record will just simply come here and then select the date and the time, and then go ahead and put some title and then put here some details, and then they can be able to create a record. All right. Okay, so with that much said, what we're going to do. One thing that we forgot is that the system is going to support multiple users. Okay, the system is going to support multiple users. I repeat, it's going to support multiple users because it has logging in and log out. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that we have to attach each record to a person who created it, so that when they come in, we show them only the things that belongs to them. So we have to come here to the diary record and add one more thing, which is going to be, of course, an integer, and then put user underscore ID, or a person who created this item, okay, or user ID, or app owner, or anything that can help you to identify. So when you'll be saving an item, we'll be first getting your ID, and then we put it here, and then we save your record. I hope there we are together. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do what? Let's go ahead and now save the record. So since we already have a lot of things that we have already pre-built, so we're not going to again re-event. We're just going to use things that we already have and then just modify them as we explain them, so that we can really save time. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. First of all, we need a table name, which is going to be the diary record. You can call diary records as you want, but it should be unique. Diary records. So I'm going to come now to, for example, the user model, and we see how we can just duplicate the saving model, and then we use the same logic here. All right. So to do that, I'll just simply come to to the models here, the user model, it is here. I'm going to come and copy this function of saving. Okay, saving, but we already created it. All right, so you know how it is done. So I'll go ahead and copy this. After copying it, I'm going to come to the diary record model and then paste there that function. So we're going to fix one by one. Okay, so the database initializing, press Alt and Enter for it to do what? To be imported. Then if this utils it's not imported, press Alt and Enter for it to be imported. After doing that, we're going to need the initializing of a table. So it should be our own table. So I'll come put here the user model, or you can remove this guy here, so you can initialize the table. So I'm going to copy the function of initializing the table like the way we did in the user here. So I'll just simply come and copy this function, but I'm going to explain it. So I'll copy it and then come here in the diary, which is here, and then I'll go ahead and collapse this guy and then put that function of initializing the table. So this function is accepting a database, and then let's go through it step by step. Okay, we know this response. If it is empty, it will show that everything is okay. So we come here where there is a main point here, which is create table if node exist. That's the main point, and then you put the table name. So it should be like a string attached to the other. This is just one string, just because I broke it, and then try to concatenate it here. So after doing that, let's go ahead and copy the names of variables that we need to save in the table. All right, so you can as well do like this. Let me show you. You can as well do like this. Something like this is also allowed. You can as well do like that in Flutter. It is allowed, so that your data can be well organized. All right, so after doing that, let's go ahead and paste here a variable that we need to save. So we need an ID. So it's going to be an ID, it's going to be integer, and it's going to be a primary key, and it's going to auto increment. How we need user ID. So user ID is also going to be what? An integer. So I'll come here and put here user ID is going to be what? An integer, because it's going to reference the other guy. All right. Then put comma, right? I put comma, and then put the title, which is going to be text. Put comma, and then put the what? The description, which is going to be text. Then lastly, we put the date. and then the date is also going to be text. We'll be changing it to text for easy calibration. So there we go. All right, now we have to remove this garbage. Okay, so I hope that SQL is fine. Create table, if not exist, then the table name, then ID, then integer. It's a primary key and it will be automatically increasing. Then the user ID is a reference ID. It's going to be also an integer from where it comes from. And then we have the title of this record, and then its description and the date when it was created. And then after doing that, we come back to the save. So save is going to just check if the response is okay. It's going to initialize and save in that database. So to have in that database, you have to have a what? A to JSON, okay? So to JSON, you can just create it here. Return map, comma, dynamic. I'll remove this word return, and then I can put here to JSON. It's going to be map, it's going to be outside here, and then put here what? String, like this, to JSON. And then I'll make sure it is within the class of what? Of record. Okay, so what did I do wrong here? Alright, so let me write the to JSON method. Alright, so there it is. Open bracket here. Alright. Sorry about that. Okay, so you see our JSON, okay? To just convert whatever we had and then do what? And then return. Alright, so after doing that, so if you want to save, don't do that. Remove the ID. Otherwise, to do what? It will replace the data if it was not there. But of course, when we will work on the update, we'll see how we work on that logic of putting the ID, so it can be able to update. All right. So after doing that, let's see if our saving function is done. I think our saving function is done. Okay. So our saving function is done. So let's go ahead and now save this record. Okay, so this record will come here. You can see. So it is save, create a record. Create record is here. You can either do the logic from here, or you can create a separate function that is going to save the record. So you can first validate and see if everything is all right. Okay, and then go ahead and do what? And create the record. So here I'm validating. So I check if the validation fails. We maybe make a toast and say validation failed. Please fill the fields, all the fields, something like that, and then return. All right, so after doing that, everything is all right, and then you go ahead and save. So you see the the name is collected as per entry, and then also the title, and then also the everything is okay. So we can go ahead and do it and save, okay, something like that. All right, so you can go ahead and also wait for the response and see if it really saved. In this save method, we have a method. If it returns nothing, it shows that everything has successfully failed. Then to tell you the reason, you can go ahead and do that and listen to it. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So we're going to be string, and then say response equals to await. So we check. If it's not empty, we know that something went wrong. If it's not empty, we go ahead and do it and say something went wrong, and then display the reason, and then stop from there. So if it is empty, I'll have to go back. Okay, maybe I can say success and then I say go back. So if it is empty, I can just simply say success and then go back from here. All right, so everything is okay at that point. So the only challenge is that we have not put the user who has saved this record. Okay, we have not put the user who has saved the record. So we have to create a logic that gets to someone who is logged in, so that we can attach before we save here, we go ahead and attach the user who created the record to someone who is logged in. Okay, the user ID. So let's go ahead and just use the same method that we used on the home screen to get the person who is logged in, which is this one. I'm just going to copy these three things as how they are here. Okay, and then come here on top here and then paste them here. I'll just import this. I think they are straightforward. All right, so after doing that, I'm going now to save the user who is logged in. I'm going to save now the record of the user who is logged in. So I'll just simply come here. So before I save, user ID equals someone who is logged in, dot ID, like this. Then we'll be able to do what? To save. So let's go ahead and test that. So if I create this first record, of course it will be given to no one because I have not initialized that. I don't initialize the user ID. Refresh, submit. You see, success. Now, so I can create another record. Another record. So instead of popping back, you can go ahead and reset the form. So just simply say key dot current state dot reset form, like this. So it will just reset the form and bring it back to where it was. So I come here, some title, and then create. You see, it creates successfully and then it takes you back. All right, so all that you can do it. Okay, so I can come here and collect another date. I can say maybe go to movies, some details about go to movies, something like that, and I save. You see, success. Now we want to be able now to display that data that has been saved to the database here. We want to display the data that have been saved to the database at this screen. So to do that, we are going to need what you call a list builder. So I hope you're together at this point. You're going to need what you call a list builder. So let's go ahead, let's go to our home screen. Our home screen is here, number 3. So we're going to come here to what? You're going to come here to where the body is. Okay, here to the body, and we're going to put here our content. Okay, so we're going to put something called list view dot builder. All right, so this builder is going to help us to display the dynamic content or the diary from the local database to our device. So this list builder is nothing but just list builder that is going to take, that has what we call item builder, and then it has a text context and the index, and then here it will return a single item on its own, as you can see here. So if I want to return, let's say that 20 names, okay, maybe 20 names. All right, the word name times 20. I can just simply come there and let me first remove this, so it should not make it so complex. So I can say text, then put here index, like this. So by doing like this, it will be able to return for me a number of items that I want. So since we did not specify the number of items, it has returned 1,000,000 of them. So what you do here, you come and put what you call limit, okay, length, okay, item count. So the item count, it will return for you the number of items that you want. So you see, when I put here 15 and I save, you'll see it is returning for me what? It is returning for me 15. 150 and I save, returning for me 150. And you can see here the list is just dynamic and it is just displaying the index next to it. So it means that you can loop through different things and display them while you're looping. So with that much said, we have to go for a break. But before we go for a break, I want to show you just one thing small, just a small thing, which is called a refresh indicator. So refresh indicator, it will help you to refresh things, okay? It will help you to refresh things, okay? So what we're going to do here, we're going to put here a refresh indicator. There is an interface that will help you to refresh things, okay? So I'll come also the list and then surround it there and say refresh indicator. So it has to take at least one method, okay? So one method, you can just simply say on a refresh, and then you do you call whatever method that you want. So on refresh, I can just simply call my init screen method, okay? So init screen method, it has to promise how it's going to be future and returning void. Future and void. So this refresh indicator, where is it? It is here. It is here. So it means that every time when someone will be refreshing, it will be calling this function of my init. So if I save and I try to refresh, sorry, let me update. So you'll see this list will be able to, can you see that? I hope you can see that thing that comes on top, eh? So you always see it in different apps. So that's how you do what? That's how you do it. So every time I refresh, it calls for me this initialize screen. All right. So in the next lecture, in the next session, we're going now to see how we can fetch data from the local screen inside here and then display them here on the screen. And then also look how you can edit data and how you can delete data. All right. So let's meet in the next lecture and we resume from there. All right. I think I've stopped the recording. I've paused it.